There is a sound, and if you grew up with this franchise, you know exactly the one I mean. The moment those horns just swell and the yellow text starts crawling up the screen, and just for a second, you're 8 years old again, sitting in the dark, believing something. That feeling used to be reliable. Now, it's complicated. Because somewhere between a galaxy far, far away and a corporate boardroom in Burbank, something went very, very wrong. And today, we're going to talk about what that something was. Let's go back. Way back. It's 1973. George Lucas, the guy who just made American Graffiti, a coming-of-age movie that cost $800,000 and made $140 million, walks into Universal Pictures with an idea. A space opera, inspired by Flash Gordon serials, Akira Kurosawa films, Joseph Campbell's Hero with a Thousand Faces, and the feeling of Saturday afternoon adventure movies he grew up on. Universal passes, and so does United Artists, so does every studio that hears the pitch. Eventually, 20th Century Fox says yes, mostly because they're desperate, and mostly because the American Graffiti movie bought Lucas enough credibility to get a meeting. They gave him a budget of $11 million. They think it's a flop. And here's the thing nobody talks enough about. Star Wars almost didn't happen. Not in any dramatic, metaphorical sense. Literally. Physically. It nearly fell apart on set every single day. The robots didn't work. The sets in Tunisia were battered by freak sandstorms. The Millennium Falcon's hydraulics kept failing. Actor after actor looked at the script and privately thought Lucas had lost his mind. Mark Hamill was an unknown. Carrie Fisher was barely 20. Harrison Ford was a carpenter Lucas had hired to install a door. The British crew, the professionals who worked on 2001: A Space Oddity, openly mocked the production. They called it the turkey. They didn't think it was going to be anything. The editing was a disaster. The final cut was so bad that the studio genuinely considered writing off the film before release. It was Lucas's then-wife, Marcia Lucas, and editor John Jimpson who helped rescue it in the cutting room, a fact that almost never gets mentioned. And then, on May 25th, 1977, Star Wars opened. The lines went around the block, then around the block again, then around the next block. People saw it 10, 20, 30 times in theaters. It made $775 million globally at the time when the all-time box office record was $260 million. It didn't just top the charts, it rewrote what movies could be. It became a religion, not metaphorically. People talk about where they were the first time they saw it and the way their grandparents talked about the moon landing. That mattered. The struggle to make it mattered. The imperfection of it, the wobbly sets, the earnest performances, the lived-in universe that felt like it had been dirty long before we showed up. That was the soul of it. The sequels deepened that universe. The Empire Strikes Back is widely considered one of the greatest sequels ever made. It's darker, stranger, more confident. It trusted the audience to handle complexity. I Am Your Father remains maybe the greatest plot twist in cinema history, and it still lands because it is earned. Lucas didn't direct Empire. He handed the reins to Ivan Kershner. He produced. He let other creative voices in, and the movie was better for it. Return of the Jedi stumbled a bit. Yes, the Ewoks, we know. But it stuck the landing. Vader's redemption, Luke refusing to become what he hated. It meant something. And then there was a long, long silence. The prequels are their own conversation. They are flawed in ways both maddening and fascinating. Over-reliance on CGI, stilted dialogue, Jar Jar, but they also contain real ideas. The corruption of institutions, the seduction of power, the tragedy of a man who loved so hard he destroyed everything he loved. You can feel Lucas trying to say something. They're messy. They're humans. they're his. That matters more than it seemed like it should. October 30th, 2012. George Lucas sells Lucasfilm to Disney for $4 billion. At the time, the reaction was cautiously optimistic. Disney had bought Marvel in 2009. The MCU was working. Maybe they do the same thing for Star Wars. Bring in smart filmmakers, let the franchise breathe, build something worthy. Lucas later said that he felt like he'd sold his kids to a divorced spouse who didn't agree with his parenting. That's a painful quote, but watching what followed, it's hard to dismiss. The Force Awakens in 2015. Fine, genuinely entertaining, a soft reset nostalgia machine, but competently made. It introduced new characters people actually cared about. Rey, Finn, Poe, Kylo Ren. It felt safe, but it worked. And then the wheels came off. The Last Jedi tried to do something genuinely risky. Subvert expectations. Interrogate hero mythology. Pass the torch by burning it. You can respect the ambition, even if the execution was divisive. At minimum, someone cared enough to try something. Then came The Rise of Skywalker, a movie that spent 2 hours undoing The Last Jedi in real time. Somehow Palpatine returned, a line that became a meme before the movie finished its opening weekend because nobody, on screen or off, could explain it either. The sequel trilogy told 3 movies with 3 different directors who were never given a coherent roadmap. There was no plan. Rian Johnson and J.J. Abrams were essentially writing contradictory sequels to each other's work while the franchise held its breath. And it didn't stop there. Disney turned Star Wars into a content treadmill. Solo was a movie nobody asked for, rushed in production after directorial chaos, and led 2 directors being fired during filming. The Book of Boba Fett took one of the franchise's most mysterious, menacing characters and turned him into a middle management bureaucrat who kept flashing back to Tatooine montages. Quantity became the strategy. Quantity. For a franchise that was born from one man obsessively, painstakingly refusing to compromise on a single vision. Now, to be fair, The Mandalorian worked. Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni, the 2 people in the Disney Star Wars ecosystem who actually grew up caring about the universe, built something that felt right. A quiet story about found family, told with patience and restraint. It was proof that the franchise could still work. But even that got diluted. A 3-season stumble. The spin-offs multiplied, the quality thinned out. Here's the honest answer to the question this video asks. What happened to Star Wars? It became a product. The original film was made by a man who had something to say about myth, about heroism, about the little guy against an enormous machine, and who nearly killed himself and his crew saying it. It was imperfect because the real things always are. Its roughness was its truth. What Disney built is technically proficient, culturally omnipresent, and almost completely safe. It is optimized for not offending, not failing, and above all, not stopping, because the content machine doesn't stop. There's always another series, another cameo, another plastic toy to sell. George Lucas once said he wanted to make a film for children, to give them myths and heroes that he felt his generation had lost. Whether you love or hate every choice he made, that intention was real. It came from somewhere. The people running Star Wars now, they come from quarterly evening calls. And you can feel the difference every time you sit down to watch something new and notice that its horns still swell, but something somewhere doesn't quite land the way it used to. That's not nostalgia. That's absence of a soul. Maybe it comes back. Maybe Filoni's theatrical film gets it right. Maybe somewhere, someone in that building fights hard enough to make something that matters again. The Force has been with us before. It can be again.